like we're on Friday and then we're on Monday again, and I feel like I'm just blinked and that's all happened. Hello, Anna from Portugal. Yeah, Anna's on it already before I've even said it. Hello, Danielle. Good day to you too. Do say hello in the comments if you like. I'm not going to force you. But do say hello and let me know where in the world you are. Interestingly, Anna, I've quite a lot of business contacts in Portugal. And I had a client in Portugal too, actually. She's from Bristol in the UK, but she was living in Portugal. I think she might have come back to England actually now. We've got Litzy from Mexico. Fabulous. And we've got Dina from New York. Hello. And Maureen from Philadelphia. We really are global, aren't we? I very excitingly, on this, I've been telling you, some of you, who's new and who's been here before, that's good to know. But I've been telling you recently that I'm doing my Institute of Leadership and Management Coaching and Mentoring course, level 5. It is academically the level of a degree. And today I have to have 3 mentees to work with, to record my kind of journey with mentoring, how I develop post the training or as part of the training. And I've just got my 3rd mentee, and I'm now going to be across Africa, America, and the UK doing working with these 3 ladies. So I'm very exciting, and I'm also very excited because they really are the kind of people I love to work with. They're female entrepreneurs, starting out in business, very excited to be helping them on their journey. So welcome here. We're not going to be mostly talking about my mentoring journey today. I just love to share with you because I do feel when I arrive here, I'm chatting to some friends. Is that okay, everybody? Can I feel like that? Because I'm making some beautiful connections here, and I really enjoy being in this space. So today's live is going to be about emotional intelligence. I'm going to have some fun with this one because it's great fun. Hello, Summerstar. Lovely to thanks, Summerstar. I know you like me chatting away. That's good because I do like to chat, so it's going to happen anyway, whether you like it or not. I love seeing the little hearts going up the side. Thank you, everyone. So a little bit about me before we get cracking. I am going to get my Insight Timer profile up just in case I forget who I am. No, not because I'm going to forget who I am, but just so that when I get to that point and I can get past the important announcement. Did you all get the appointment? Teeth in, please. Did you all got the important announcement about the premium tracks? So I've got a few of those actually, so you may have been told about those today because it all went pop, didn't it, over the weekend or this morning or something. Maureen, you're new. Lovely to see you here. Fantastic. So what about me? Oh, well, I'm a 3 principles teacher. I'm known as the Queen of Calm, but I haven't always been calm. I super duper burnt out epically, actually, in 2015 when I was a primary school head teacher. But I spent a long time trying to find my way to calm, trying to have a nicer experience of life, trying to be more productive, trying to be more, trying to do and feel better, I suppose. And I went round the houses with that one. So let me know in the comments if you've been round the houses with that one. That you've tried lots of different things to make yourself feel better, to do better in your life, in your business, or whatever else it is you have going on. Let me know if you've been there too, and you've tried a lot of things. I suspect you have because you're on. Oh, Sue, that's a really good question. So I have a number of oh, bless you, Dina. So, Sue, I have a number of qualifications in coaching itself, and I have also got a 3 principles facilitation qualification, which I did from summer 2020 to spring 2021. So it was like a 9-month training course. And lots of experience too. But the course I'm doing at the moment is a much more formal look at mentoring and coaching. But actually, I'm discovering there's some beautiful alignments between the 3 principles and what I'm doing now, which is really good. And I'm seeing more and more that I am, in fact, a mentor. So what would I say is that I'm a life mentor. So I will support people with their businesses. But I will support people in life too, because I think the two are intertwined, aren't they? So whether that's work or business doesn't really matter. So Dina, you're a school principal, confident. Yeah, I was a head teacher. Same thing as a principal, really. Are you with the younger children or the older children, Dina? I was with the little ones, 3 to 11-year-olds was my second headship. Summer Star, you're always trying things. You're with the younger end too, Dina. We should maybe have a chat. Because there's a lot going on, isn't there? In a little, especially with little ones. So do reach out. If you hop over to my profile, anybody who does want to have a conversation, and I am having some beautiful conversation with people on Insight Timer at the moment. I've had one today, which I didn't, it was nearly in tears by the end of it. It was just so lovely. So please, please do reach out and connect with me. There's a place to connect with me on Telegram. There's a place to book an hour with me. So, yeah, you're right. You're right, Summer Star. Dina does have a really intense and important job. But it doesn't have to be stressful. Unfortunately, it was for me. I now know that the way I thought about it was really key in how I experienced it, and I was so stressed. But in fact, Dina and everybody else, if you'd have said to me the day before, "You're really stressed, Claire," did you realise you were stressed? I would have said, "Don't be ridiculous." I really had no idea, not a clue. I didn't know I was stressed, and then I went to work one day and I couldn't really function anymore. So it creeps up on you, I think, does stress, unfortunately. So I went on a journey, went round the houses, tried everything, like Summer Star said too. She's tried a lot. If you can drop me a message, Sue, I'll do that, because it's not really relevant to this session, if that's okay. But drop me a message. I'm happy to reply to messages about that kind of thing. There's lots of places, let's just say, but I can probably point you to some of the better ones. Where was I? Yeah, so I went around houses, tried everything, did a lot of self-development, self-help type things, and I was kind of okay, but it was a bit like this. I hang on with my fingernail ends, and I've been at it for years, and I've made a little bit of progress here and there, but there was this sense to me at that point, and maybe you can relate to that I have to keep doing stuff, keep doing the self-development. You can't stop, because the whole thing will come crashing down, was my general feeling about it. But then I came across the 3 principles that Sue has mentioned there. And if you haven't come across the 3 principles, please head over to my bio, follow me there, and find the track called What Are the 3 Principles and Why Bring More Ease to Life. Now, the exciting thing is that today I've been working on a 3 principles foundation course, which will be coming out probably the end of this month actually, because I'm traveling from next Wednesday in the motorhome, and I don't really like to record the courses in the motorhome because the sound quality is a bit tinny, because it basically is a tin box. I prefer to record at home, so I will have to get it done before I go next Wednesday and get it uploaded, so it could be out earlier than the end of this month, which will be great. In fact, it probably will be. So that will be the course I'll point you to if you've not come across the 3 principles. The 3 principles are thought, consciousness, and mind, and they're universal principles, i.e. they are the same for every single human being. Different flavors, because we've all got different levels of consciousness and we've all got different thinking, but fundamentally we are all the same in the way we create our experience. And psychology has really complicated all of that and made it look like we're all flipping bonkers, quite frankly. Just that's really what it feels like sometimes, that it's made it look like we are all broken and need fixing, and we need to do that in the outside world. And really interestingly, folks, I received a message today from a lady on Insight Timer who just said, why do you think, I promise she said it was quite full on, but something about saying that mental illness doesn't come from thought. Well, I'm afraid it does, but she cited all this stuff about, the world out there and how it creates, how mental illness really works and how it's a chemical imbalance in the brain, which is being fundamentally proven all the time to not be true. And, all sorts of stuff. But it's been overcomplicated. Psychology, led mostly by our lovely friend Freud, who I will not go into too much about right now because I'll start ranting. But we've got this misunderstanding about human beings. You are fundamentally well. You have innate well-being, and that well-being, as you will have noticed if you started to look in this direction, is only ever a thought away. So I can see lots more people have come in since I started chatting about introducing and who I am and everything. So please let me know who you are and where you are. Say hi in the comments. Always love to hear from people and hear whereabouts in the world you are. I just love the global reach of Insight Time. In fact, I love Insight Time, and it's a place where I hang out the most these days, really. I do a little bit on other platforms, but this is the place where I love to be, mostly because of you folks, to be fair. Hello, Jen from Maryland. Lovely to see you. Let me know if you're new, if you've been here before, if you're new to the 3 principles, if you've come across them before. If you've come across non-duality, you'll kind of be on a similar track. So if you've come across non-duality, 3 principles is still not a style of teachings on the Insight Timer yet. So I'm going to keep poking them about that. Hello, Lizeth. Lizeth, what a beautiful name. I've never heard that name before. And you're new here. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for being here. So if you are new, please do hop over and follow me. When you follow me, you'll find all sorts of stuff. You'll find the link in bio where there's all sorts of information about me and what I get up to. Laurie's here, new from Pennsylvania. It's all new to you. Fantastic, Laurie. Well, you're in for a treat, something a little bit different, especially as I talk about emotional intelligence today. It's going to be such fun. I've recorded a short podcast of this and I've uploaded that this morning, so hopefully that will be live soon. Hello, John from San Francisco in California, and hello, Anna from the UK, from Hampshire in the UK. I'm in Leeds in the UK at the moment. I am sometimes in my motorhome Trevor somewhere else in the UK. Eventually we're going to be somewhere else abroad in Trevor. This is the plan, hopefully. As you can see, I'm very easily distracted by things going in the comments and things that fly across my head. Less so than I used to be, but it still happens a little bit. So, the 3 principles I came across in January 2020, I had a life-changing, transformational experience very quickly. Went from being like stuck in all this self-development, not really feeling okay, to being in a much, much better place. That happened really quite quickly because really we are only ever a thought away from innate well-being, and I see that so much more now. And so I threw myself into it thickly, sort of a thing, fully. I threw myself into it fully. I listened a lot, I learned a lot, and I found myself in a much better place, than I used to be. And also, like, as I stay in the conversation, which is encouraged with the 3 principles, stay in the conversation, I find that on a daily basis there's something new to see. And something that was creating some suffering in my life falls away. And it's just wonderful. It's so life-changing. So these sessions are regular. This Monday one is now a pretty solid slot. Monday at 3:50 p.m. UK time is a regular slot. It's a great slot. I love this slot. I am now going to be doing another regular slot on Tuesday at the same time, 3:50 p.m. UK time. So if you like this slot, you can pop along again tomorrow. And what will we be talking about tomorrow? I have to remind myself because, managing difficult conversations. We're going to have loads of fun with that one as well. Very, very excited about that one. So we're going to be looking at that tomorrow at the same time. And then I will be hopping straight from that onto my group Zoom, which is open to everyone. So check out the link in bio to find out a little bit more about that. So I am all about cheap and cheerful ways for people to learn the 3 principles, because I would love it to be reached a point where everybody at least knows about it, and more and more people are keen to learn about it and share it and fall back in love with life, really, and do and feel the very best they can in every aspect of their life. We are fundamentally missing our potential so much of the time, and I don't think it needs to be that way. So I'm a mentor who helps you to do that, to understand this, to integrate into your life, to just have a nicer experience and a more easeful experience of life, more calm, more clarity, more balance. I particularly work with women, but I like men too. and I'm happy to chat to them too. I think we're in a very feminine space here, but I love that there are men too who are looking in this direction. So the numbers are going up. Please keep saying hi in the comments and letting me know where you're from. These sessions, regular sessions, are brought to you by donation. If you are able to support me with a donation, that also supports Insight Timer and helps me to keep turning up on here and keep sharing this amazing understanding. So I've got 4 courses, and I'm not going to go through the list of them all now. This month we're exploring relationships, and in that regard, the course about relationships is one to hop on if you want to find out more about relationships. My most popular course is Revealing Your Full Potential with the 3 Principles. I'd love to know why. Because people want to reveal their full potential, I guess, but that's my most popular course. And there are 2 others. So if you follow me, you can find out more about those courses and check out which one you want to access. And if you are a premium member, you get to join in those courses. And if you want to support me on the courses, and you can't make a donation right now, then you can support me on the courses by interacting with me there and having chats, and it's really great. That I love that as well. I love the chance. Oh, Nancy, you're here again. I see you bobbing around off at the bottom. Hello from San Diego. So yeah, hop onto one of those courses, join in and interact. I love the little voice note. I don't know what that is. Me doing a voice note, obviously. There's a voice note facility on this. We can get into a really good conversation, and I'm enjoying those conversations on the course platforms. So let's get cracking with emotional intelligence. Now, first thing I'm going to say is the concept of emotional intelligence has had absolutely phenomenal PR. I was born in 1971, and I can guarantee that nobody had a conversation about emotional intelligence in 1971. I mean, I wouldn't have been involved because I was a baby, but I mean, as I was growing up, nobody was talking about emotional intelligence. I'd love to know, somebody who's got access to Google right now can let me know, when did we start talking about emotional intelligence? I should have looked that up, shouldn't I, when I looked up everything else to do with emotional intelligence, because I do like to Google these phrases that we use all the time, don't we? And in businesses, it is spoken about a lot, spoken about how important it is in terms of our relationships. And I would not deny that it is important to have some awareness about these things in our relationships. And we will be talking about awareness a lot today. So Lizeth, you're from the Netherlands. Yeah, I think there is some 3 Principles people teaching in the Netherlands. In fact, I spoke to a guy the other day who's from the Netherlands and teaches the 3 Principles. Someone started, you love my ChatGPT tip. It's not been very playful today. I don't know what's going on with it. I was asking it things, it's giving me the wrong answers, so that was interesting. But yeah, I do like ChatGPT. I like anything that makes life simpler and easier for me. So I'm going to read out, I had a little Google. So the first thing I noticed when I Googled emotion, and I just put emotional intelligence in onto Google. And first thing you need to know is that I got over 300 million hits. Now, 300 million in my world is a third of a billion. And there are now I kept saying there were 7.8 billion people in the world, but there are now more than 8 billion people in the world. But the fact that there's 300 million hits about emotional intelligence is a little bit worrying in my view. And I suspect if I searched how to develop my emotional intelligence or how to improve it, I'd probably get a similar number of hits. So I checked out the definition. So this is the definition that I found. Now, obviously, there are lots of definitions of emotional intelligence on the internet. There's lots of everything on the internet, isn't there, quite frankly? But the ability to use and manage your emotions in positive ways. You might have known that my remarkable will just switch up in the middle of that. The ability to use and manage your emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathise with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. Now, I think looking towards relieving stress, communicating effectively, empathising with others, overcoming challenges, and diffusing conflict are a great set of things to be looking to do. And I would say an understanding of the 3 principles will mean you'll do all of that without even thinking about it. My concern with this definition is its starting point, which is the ability to use and manage your emotions. Now, let me know in the comments if you've tried to manage an emotion and how that's gone for you. And I mean, I don't mean like in the moment, I mean long term, like got into managing emotions. I definitely did. I definitely thought I could do that. And tried all sorts of, it's very hard, Dina. And the thing is, it's hard for a reason. It's hard because that is the intelligence of the universe telling you to stop it. That that's not your job. It's not your job to manage your feelings, to manage your emotions. However, you can use your emotions. And this to me is the crux of this thing we might call emotional intelligence. Because listen to the word emotional intelligence. Like, let's turn that on its head. Knowing that your emotions are intelligence. What about that way of looking at it? Because they are. Your emotions are intelligent. Like, I think so often we're guided to talk about wisdom, aren't we? We talk about wisdom. We might talk about gut instinct or something heart-led, perhaps. And often I think if we're on this kind of spiritual journey or we're seeking help or whatever, we're looking to connect to that wisdom. And we're told really that it's something about being calm. Like, and you think I'd agree with that, being the queen of calm. But I think the most powerful intelligence, the most powerful information we have about us and how we are in this moment is our emotions. And let me explain why. Who knows why? Who's been in this chat, these calls for a while and knows why emotions are powerful? That feels like a test, doesn't it? I'm not going to do that to you. You don't have to answer. There's a test at the end of this session. I will be taking the scores. Brilliant, Sue. Well, Sue's top of the class already. Well done, Sue. So emotion. You see, the teacher in you never goes away, does it, Dina? That's what my ex-husband used to say. I'm not one of your children. All the time. My fiance doesn't say it because I don't think, like, I've been out of education now for over 8 years, and I still feel like I'm a teacher at heart, which is probably why I like doing this, because I have a captive audience. No, because I just like sharing it and I love teaching. So, excuse me. So, absolutely, Sue, your emotions, your feelings show you what you're thinking, but not necessarily the what. Like, we don't need the words. That's not really so helpful, but they guide us to our state of mind. I prefer state of mind to thinking. You're absolutely right, Sue. Your feelings, your emotions are the energetic representation of your thoughts in your body in the moment. Like, there's nothing wrong with you if you've got some rubbishy thoughts, anxious thoughts, angry thoughts, whatever, and the feeling to go with it. That's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's just because in this moment, that's where your attention is, that's what you're focusing on, and that's what you're experiencing. Now, the reason why that is intelligent is because, and especially in our relationships, because my goodness, anybody here ever said anything they later regretted to somebody they love? I'm going to see I want to see the hearts going up, which is you all putting your hands up and fessing up that you have said something to somebody you love who, and then thought, oh God, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't mean it. I feel terrible. Don't feel terrible. That's not helpful. But yeah, lots of hearts going up at the side. I think we've all done it. There's not one person in this room who can say that they haven't outbursted. That's a made-up word I'm using. I'm having it anyway. You will notice that I do make up words, but I don't care. You know, there's not one of us in this room who hasn't had an outburst towards somebody we love, said something that we wasn't particularly helpful, didn't help the situation, didn't help us, didn't help them, left everybody feeling a bit sad or a bit more upset. And we've all done it, haven't we? And that the reason that happens is that the emotion, let's say anger. Anger's a good one with other people, isn't it? Not a good one. It's a practical one to talk about. Is the emotion is there to let us know that our thinking is a bit off. So when we don't know that, we think the emotion is there telling us about the other person. So of course the words that come to mind to say, and this is all happening at lightning speed, of course, it's not like, if it was all slowed down, it wouldn't happen, would it? It just wouldn't happen. So the emotion is saying your state of mind's off, but we think the emotion is saying they're out of order or they're off. And so we say things that are not kind, not helpful. Now, in that moment, and this is where the self-compassion comes in, is to know that that feeling is, that the self-compassion comes in because it's for you to know that you're always doing the best you can in the moment, with the thoughts that look true to you, with the understanding of where your emotions are coming from. And so snapping or saying something unpleasant is just what made sense. Now, when we're that compassionate with each other, that when we're with ourselves, we can recover from that much quickly. We can get back out into the world and say sorry. We can make amends with somebody. That's much more possible when we're in this place of being compassionate towards ourselves. So, Anna, you had a relationship, very intense, if emotionally. It sounds like, was it for 6 weeks? Well, I mean, I'm glad it only lasted 6 weeks. Yeah, I mean, Anna, just to know that your heart and soul still are at peace. You've probably right now got a lot of thinking about what's happened, but it's not held in you, it's not damaging you, it's going to pass. It'll pass, and the more you look in this direction, the more quickly that will happen. Hello, Monica. Lovely to see you. All your lovely emojis. I feel like I should wink and then stick my tongue out as well. But my fiance says I'm terrible at winking and look quite scary, so maybe not. Right, so where was I going with that? So we've got this misunderstanding about our feeling, about our emotions. And so when I read emotional intelligence being about managing your emotions, no, I don't want anybody in this room to think I'm ever pointing towards you managing your emotions. Hello, Violet. Lovely to see you. Because they are useful. They're not to be managed. They're just useful. Can you imagine a world where everybody just saw that one thing, that their emotions were an indicator of their state of mind right now and nothing else? And that there was nothing to do, and there was nothing to be afraid of. I mean, has anybody here been afraid of their emotions at some point? Can't press the heart. Can I press the heart? I can. I never knew that I can press the heart too. That is just crazy. Yeah, I can do a heart too. So yeah, I'm beside myself with that now. So, I'm going to put my hand up and say I felt afraid of feeling at some point and thought I needed to get rid of a feeling in order to do something, in order to function, in order to have a nice experience of life. Can you imagine if you never ever needed to do that again? That you didn't need to manage any emotion, that you just saw them as they truly are, as information, guidance from the universe, guidance from universal intelligence. And that's because your system is perfectly made. Why wouldn't it be? Do you look out into nature and think that's not perfectly made? Despite the vile weather. I was sitting on the loo earlier. Oh, you need to know I was sitting on the loo. But you need to, I was sitting on the loo earlier thinking, I'm going to search when is this the wettest August in history? Because it has been so wet. But it's still perfect. It's nature. How could it not be? I don't question that the daffodils come when they come and the blossom comes and then the dandelion. I don't question that. I don't question the storms and go, oh, there's something wrong with nature, there's a storm. I don't question the rain in August even. Endless though it is. It's very warm and wet as well. It's like a bit tropical now here. It was cold, but it's now warm and wet. But we question this system of ours and think it's somehow wrong, it's somehow broken, it's somehow there's something wrong with us. But that's the outside-in misunderstanding. That any of our experience comes from the outside world when it doesn't. So a wee breather and a check of the comments. Oh, Jen, that would change your life because you have terrible anxiety and constantly in fight or flight mode. Well, Jen, that is just the sort of issue I would love to speak to people about. So, Jen, you hopefully have picked up on where you can get in touch with me. But Jen, stay in this conversation. If I can point you towards anything, it is just to enjoy listening to my stuff. If you enjoy listening to me, attend my lives, do my courses. But if it's not me, find somebody else who's pointing in the same direction. Find somebody else who's teaching this through principles, definitely. Oh, Anna, and absolutely, Anna, feelings are so physical, but that almost is the power of them, because that's your body. Your body is the wisest thing you have, Anna. The wisest thing. It's always going to be telling you from the smallest thing, like me noticing that my back's a bit sore, so I'm going to move my cushion and make myself comfortable. From that to extreme anxiety or a pain in my heart because it feels broken, to let me know that right now that's my state of mind. I can feel heartbroken if we're having heartbreaking thoughts. And what happens over time, Anna, in this conversation is that we find a way to get off the train of thought. We find a way to get off it. We don't have to stay on the train of thought, and we find a way to get off when we stay in this conversation. We see that that's possible, that we don't have to stay on that train of thought. But I sending so much love, Anna, so much love, and an invitation to talk. And I'm seeing as well so much support and love in the comments too. Bless you, Anna. You too. Yeah, Summer Star and Violet. I absolutely love Byron Katie. She really does point in a very similar direction to me. The difference, I would say, is that she has a process. She has a process. It's called the work. It's a process you can go through. You can go through it with somebody who's trained in the work. A lot of the direction I point to is very similar. The questions I ask are very similar. What would life be like without this thought? Is that true? Those kind of questions. I ask those questions when I'm working with people. But I don't have a formal process really. In the same way that Byron Katie, she's developed an amazing process, and it is really helpful. So Dina, you say that's you too, tight throat and stomach, and that's not pleasant to experience that. And I am not saying that any of these feelings, tight throat and stomach, heartache, anxiety, are nice. They're not. But there's a reason they're not nice. Because it's your body screaming at you and saying, get off this train of thought. It's hurting you. That's it. That's why it feels so bad. It's to encourage you to stop it. It's encouraging you to get off the train of thought. I often liken it to when you pull into, I don't know what it's like where you are, but where we are in the UK, the train pulls into the platform and the guard gets out and checks the platform to see what's going on. And then they turn a key and all the lights on the doors light up to say you can get off. You can get off the train now. And then there's a light, and the light, that button is the light that the three principles can provide. So I'll give some examples because there's questions about tools and there's questions about how do you get off the train of thought. Chris, if you look up Byron Katie, you'll find out about the work there. Well, you probably do imagine, Laurie, that it's all to do with childhood trauma. And absolutely, the experiences we've had as a younger person, as a child, are the foundations of our conditioning. But they are not stuck somewhere in your body. And you don't need to go back and poke them about. So we will not be encouraging that. So getting off the train of thought is like this. I need to find my ruler. There it is. Right, so if you haven't seen me do this before, if you have, I don't think you can see this enough times. A, it's funny, and B, it's true. But it's like this. So, Anna, so occupying your mind with other thoughts is something that definitely sometimes makes sense to me. Distraction sometimes, but that's not what you need to do. That's what I do sometimes. But it's like this. So I could be hitting myself on the head with this ruler for a very long time. And I could be telling all of you about my headache and how I can't get rid of my headache. And I'm swigging back the water. And I've got my diffuser over here blowing out some kind of, I think it's rosemary oil, lavender. I've got all that going on, and I'm avoiding caffeine, and I'm not drinking alcohol, and I'm eating really healthily, and I'm even going for walks in the flipping August rain, and I've still got a headache. Right, but I don't know why I've got a headache. I don't know why I'm suffering. Somebody tell me, why am I suffering? Why does it hurt? Why does this side of my head's fine? This side of my head is hurting. Well, it only takes one of you to say you're hitting yourself on the head with a ruler. Now, I might forget and start hitting myself on the ruler again, and then I will summer star bloody tapping. Yes, it's midnight bloody tapping. And I might forget again, and then somebody will remind me. And this is what we often say in the three principles: stay in the conversation, because I forget all the time, and I am not very emotionally intelligent sometimes, and I get stressed out. And not stressed out really, but I get wound up about things. I get upset about things. But then I forget, and I go back to doing this. When we see really deeply that our experience is not coming from the outside world, it's not coming from anywhere else but inside, we start to realize there is a choice. And this is what the choice looks like in the moment for me. Let me give you a couple of stories around this, because I think that's helpful. And the thing about this is I did not learn this as a technique. I learned about the three principles, and the more grounded I became in the three principles, the more I could see that it was my thought creating the experience. And then there was a space to choose to stop the thinking, because you can stop thinking. It might not seem like it, and that's not, but that I'm not saying stop thinking. I'm saying when you realize where your suffering's coming from, you stop thinking those things. But you have to realize that it's coming from there. What we tend to do is try and fix it out there, or try and do a tool or a technique to try and fix it from outside in. when we realise it is just the thoughts in the moment that are creating the suffering, we stop. So here's a couple of examples. Some of you who've been on here before will know about my fiance. He's called Bruce, and he has an ex called Sarah, and she is they have a child, so we have to have, otherwise she would be no part of our life at all, but she is, because they have a child. And she's been interesting. She's done all, somebody put in the comments the other day, I was describing some of her behaviour, and somebody put in the comments, she sounds like it's all about her, and I absolutely fundamentally would agree with that. So I used to excuse me sorry, a little tickle there. I used to get upset all the time about her nonsense, as I would call it. Long messages telling us off, telling us not to do this, that, and the other, winding up the child to be very resistant to coming to our house. And this went on and on and on and on. And I used to reply to all, she used to send these long, rude WhatsApp messages, and I would reply with other long, rude WhatsApp messages, quite frankly, very angry, like banging, like literally banging the message out on the screen and being very upset. And I remember the first time I realised about my state of mind. So what happened when I replied from a poor state of mind, when I was feeling angry, was that this horrible stacking process where the back and forth messages, and then I would feel terrible. I'd go to bed on a Sunday night feeling really stressed out, because it was generally Sunday night after we took him back. I'd be really upset. I'd wake up in the night thinking about what I needed to say to her next, and I felt terrible a lot of the time when these things were happening. It came and went, but it was there too much of the time. It took a lot of my mind space, really, and left me feeling pretty rubbish, and Bruce feeling pretty rubbish. And then as I came into this understanding, I just started to, well, I remember the first time it happened, I stood in the kitchen, I had my phone in my hand, and one of these messages came through. So this is me. I'm going to act it out for you now. Oh my God, what is wrong with this woman? Oh my God, look, I was angry, furious about it, ranting about, oh my God. And then I noticed I felt weird. Now, a little voice came in my head. I didn't put the little voice there. The little voice just said, Claire, you're not really in a fit state of mind to answer this message. You're really upset. Just put your phone down and go and do something else. And I did. I ate my evening meal. I watched a bit of telly. And when I read the message later, there was just no reply, because there's no reply to somebody who's just talking from upset thinking. Yeah, you're right, John, really, that's what I did. But it wasn't this, I'm just going to ignore them. It makes no sense to reply. There was compassion in it towards her. She's upset. She's doing the best she can with the thinking that looks true to her. And I don't need to be involved. Yeah, Anna, absolutely. There was a seeing of that. I would say she's definitely hurting too. People don't behave like that unless they're suffering. And that's something that I've really started to see now. People's strange behaviour, because there are many people in the world who don't behave according to Claire's rule of law, as you will. And I'm sure you have the same feeling sometimes, all of you. Why are there so many people who don't do life my way? And yeah, there was nothing to say. I had a similar incident where I'd done something. I'd put something on social media. My son is in the public eye, and he didn't like what I'd put, and he sent me a very rude message on Instagram. Then tried to speak to me, and I was really upset. And I knew to just not communicate with him. I knew not to answer the phone because I was already kind of wound up. And that time, I just did this little admin job. And then when I felt calm, I went and deleted whatever it was I wasn't supposed to have done. And when I felt calm later, I just said, do you still want to talk about this to my son? And he didn't. Now, if I'd got on the phone with him in defence of myself, that would have been awful. It would have been a mess. So it's not a tool or a technique. And I know that's hard, because if we have been guided towards trying to fix ourselves, trying to do it from the outside in, trying to make ourselves feel better, we will end up, it will be hard, to listen to this and to hear that there's nothing to do. The trouble with all the tools and techniques is that they keep pointing us in the wrong direction. So we're looking towards the outside for our well-being. We will be looking forever because it's not flipping there. And I'm guiding you to look inside. You don't need any tools and techniques. Your well-being is in there. It's not out there. Every time somebody says, oh, try this, try that, do that, try this tool, and you won't hear me say that. Every time somebody tells that, they're literally putting you on the road to well-being and pointing in the wrong direction and then pushing you up and saying, right, off you go. Go find well-being over there in all those tools and techniques land. And home isn't there, it's in here. So that was, wow, I went off on one a bit there, didn't I? Anyway, let's have a look at what's come up in the comments. So, yeah, Anna, you were asking about tools. I'm hoping that's been helpful in terms of the tools thing. I'm not going to give you any tools. Now, you can carry on trying all the tools and trying all the tools, or you can spend some time in this conversation. And really, I went from using endless tools and techniques to doing none at all. Absolutely don't do any at all now. I don't do anything to maintain my well-being. Finish, done. Don't do it. Don't do anything at all. Don't need to. Finish with it. It's rather good, actually. I have a lot more time now, it turns out. So let's have a look. Yeah, Dina, you asked about how you get off. So I like what Anna said there about sometimes just distraction. I find is helpful. It's anything to kind of, I find for me, there's something about, and this is my doing, this is not telling you what to do. I find for me, there's something about like a distraction of the intellect, like busying myself with a bit of mindless admin, that then allows my innate well-being and my psychological immune system to reset. It's a bit like scab picking. Now, let me just imagine I was a scab picker as a child. Don't worry, you don't have to admit to that, but I was terrible. I couldn't leave them alone. I was a real picker. I was a fidgeter, so it was just something to fidget with, really. It wasn't like self-harm or anything. It was just, I was a picker. Now, you'll have noticed that if you have a scab, your body is cracking on with fixing that. If you pick it, you make it worse. And it's the same with this idea that we need to do anything about our thoughts and feelings. We're picking at a scab that was getting on with, our psychological immune system sorting out everything. Thoughts are moving through, feelings are moving through, and then we're going like this and trying to stop them, manage them, and move them about, and make them change. And our poor psychological system keeps trying to reset and move things. And then we're doing a tool and technique and we're just getting in the way. We're picking a scab that doesn't need picking, really. So let's have a look. So, yeah, you spiral in thoughts, Maureen, often and find it hard to get off the train of thought. Me too. Me too. All the time. I find it easier to get off now. But I am a lot kinder with myself when I don't, because it's just how it is, really. So, Laura, you say, yes, that's it. You keep poking your child on to try and figure them out, but you never will. Yeah, you'll keep hitting yourself on the head. Oh, bless you, Laura. I'm so glad you are here. It sometimes happens that way, doesn't it? Well, it often happens this way when we're looking in this direction, is that things just fall into place. And Anna, I love that you found something that helps you there, listening to meditations or music. Summer style bloody tapping in. The ruler is one of my favourite analogies. I try not to use it too often though, because I do have a slight pain on the side of my head now. So Monica, bless you. Your mum's going through cancer treatment. You just spent 2 weeks straight in the cancer centre. Bless you. Oh, you met lovely, optimistic, strong people. Oh, bless. Yeah, you've got a lot going on, and crying's okay. You've got all that. It's a lot to be looking after somebody who's going through something like that. And, take care of yourself and be okay with your emotional journey. Life is a contact sport, Monica. And we're supposed to go up and down, and we're supposed to feel. And I think too much of this feeling, emotional control stuff is kind of saying you're not. You are. It's human to feel, completely and utterly human. So I need to hit her over the head with a ruler. Don't think I'm being tempted, Jeff. Jeff, you always make me laugh. Yeah, John says it's just, yeah, she's hurting too. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, great advice on how to pivot, Claire, when you get the negative beliefs. I think it's realizing that we don't have to stay with thoughts that are hurting us. Don't have to do that at all. We can get off that train of thought. So I'm just trying to read the comments. When somebody comments at the bottom, they all disappear, and I lose track of where I'm up to. Anna, bless you. That sounds like a really interesting experience. I'd like to talk to you. That's a tricky one for me to. Don't worry about the mistakes typing. Yeah, I mean, when two people come together who both don't know where their experience is coming from, that can be difficult. In a relationship, I think one of the places that is vital for emotional intelligence and for us to guide ourselves through our relationship is to realize that you don't make me feel anything and I don't make you feel anything. Even when I get upset with Bruce, which I do, bless him, I say to him, I'll say blah 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 about something you've done, and it's making me feel, and I'll go, I know it's not you, it's my thinking about you. So even there's a space for a relief from it. But I can still say, but I'd like you to stop doing it if you can try, please. We're that fundamental understanding that we don't make people feel anything. My emotional well-being does not come from you, yours does not come from me, is so pivotal to having a lovely experience of other people, because then you can just be present and you can have fun. And Bruce and I just laughed. We actually went to a party on Saturday night and we danced so much and we just laughed so much. My daughter was there, my mum, and lots of my family, my extended family. And it was just, yeah, we have such a lovely experience with each other now. But it had to start with us realizing, we've both studied the 3 principles, which is super helpful. It had to start with us both realizing that we don't create each other's feelings. Definitely not. Emotional intelligence, Cindy, hello. So, it's human to feel. Definitely, Monica is. Oh, bless you, Monica. Lots of love, honestly. It can't be easy. The human experience is well, Sydney Banks said life is a contact sport. I think it just does. So Summer Star, you say what works for you is to exercise or leave the house and you get limited moves, and of course meditation. But still, I would like, it's good that we're following our intuition, but what I expect you will see over time is that well-being is available to you in a breath, in a moment, in a second, and it doesn't need so much stuff to do as you might think. There's so much love for you, Monica, in this room. It's beautiful. Yeah, and getting outside is can I just tell you, folks? Don't know where I know where you all live, all over the place, probably in places where the sun actually flipping shines. Getting outside here involves a flipping waterproof and waterproof trousers at the moment, like not just a cagoule, a waterproof jacket, waterproof trousers also, because it's just so wet. As I say, I think it's probably something from the UK. Look up, is it the wettest August ever in the UK? It definitely is in Yorkshire. Flipping silly weather. Yeah, outdoors. Hey, and Cindy's in the right place, and lots of there's just so much love. Now, Cindy, sitting outside in your car to find peace, like that, on a practical level, that makes sense. Like if you are in a noisy house or a noisy workplace, or you know, if you've got like loads of kids at home, or it's just a noisy place in general. That peace on a physical level is available in moving to a different space. Peace on an emotional level, we could literally be, like, I would say I was at a party on Saturday night. It was noisy, it was full of people, it was full of noise and music and dancing and all sorts of stuff. And I was completely at peace the whole time. And it was noisy. Of course it was a party. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting a change of scenery. There's nothing wrong with wanting anything or preferring anything. I prefer, I get to a point where I've been in the house for a few weeks and I want to get in my motorhome and go drive somewhere and look at the sea or a bit of water or whatever, just a different bit of scenery. That's a preference. There's a difference between a preference and a something we think our well-being depends on. If we think our well-being depends on sitting in the car, and our inner peace comes from sitting in the car, then that's not the truth, really, is what I'm saying. So it's escape from your mum who's 90, she's on your nerves. She's not doing that. It's you're thinking about her, Cindy. Who edges on my nerves until you can get worked up here and move in an apartment close by is stuck, as is your mum. Yeah, I mean, that's a preference, isn't it? Like, I hope you can hear the difference between a preference and something that we think our well-being depends on. They are two different things. They are two really, really different things. So, as you can tell, I love to talk about what's coming up in the comments, and it's absolutely brilliant. Let's just get focused back a little bit more onto emotional intelligence and this whole thing of how important it is to have the intelligence of our emotions. That's what I'm turning the whole definition of it on its head. Your emotions are intelligent. They are letting you know about your state of mind. I might write about this in my assignment, actually, because I have to talk about emotional intelligence in my assignment, and I might turn it on its head. However, there is no intelligence in trying to manage your emotions, because that isn't a thing at all. Oh, bless you, Monica. Lovely. That's so nice. There's some love for Cindy there. It's really good how supportive you are of each other here. So I can see lots and lots of people have come in, loads of people, while I've been talking quite intensely. I hope people are finding it helpful. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about before the end, although the end is nigh. Although I have scheduled it in for a bit longer today, so if we go over, we go over. What would you like me to say again, Keisha? It's not helpful because I don't know what. Do you want me to talk about emotional intelligence, or the intelligence of the emotions again? Let me know, Keisha, and I'll see if I can encapsulate it again in slightly different words. I'm going to carry on saying that anyway, and if you pop in the chat, I'll check it out. So what we've been saying here today is that emotions are intelligence. What we're told out there in the world is that emotions are a problem and that we have to solve them in a number of different ways. We can solve them by changing the outside world. I'm in a conversation at the moment with a man who's been a client of mine he's actually somebody I met originally on online dating, but we stayed friends, and then we've had the odd conversation around misunderstanding, but he's never worked with me for a longer period, unfortunately. And he happened to join Telegram, so I thought I'd say hi, because Telegram tells you, doesn't it, when somebody you don't know joins. I just reached out and said, how are you? And found that he's changed jobs a lot of times in the last few years, or changed businesses or whatever. And every time he reduces what he's doing work-wise. So he makes it simpler or less, or he moves jobs and things. And when I got talking to him, it really was an outside-in misunderstanding. He was he thought stress came from the jobs he's been in, and as a result, he's made his life smaller and smaller. So that's one way in which we can be trying to manage our emotions, is we just avoid things, don't we? I mean, and I kind of did it the other way, is I wanted to feel better about myself, so I did a lot. So, and I think for women, that's probably more the case, that we may avoid some things. For a lot of us, the way we try and make ourselves feel good as women is to do a lot. Because women misunderstood the call to action, which was, the call to action was, women, you can do anything. In about 1940, 1950, suddenly it was like this. Women, you can do anything. Look at you can make bombs in a factory. But for a lot of women who'd never been out of the home, that was like a revelation, really. So the message was, women, you can do anything. And women heard, you can do everything. And then proceeded to try and manage everything. And I know this as well as anybody, because I was a massive control freak. I was trying to control the outside world to make myself feel better, first through seeking promotions, then through post-divorce, endless online dating and all sorts of other things. And in the end, I burnt out because I had too much to do and too much to think about. And I was exhausted. So when we think an emotion is an outside world thing, we will keep doing things in the outside world to try and manage that emotion. And that includes all the tools and techniques. They're still outside in. We want to get a better feeling. If we think it's coming from the outside world, we'll go and do something in the outside world. Now, when we understand the intelligence of an emotion, we're going to look at that very differently. And the great thing about this is that it's principles, as in it's true for all of us. You can have a conversation with your teenage kid, with your mother, with your partner, from this understanding, with this understanding on board, and have a different experience of all of them. Because this is principles. It doesn't matter what your situation is. And I realise that many of you here today have got difficult circumstances. But a better experience of those circumstances is available with better thinking. Now, that I do not want you to hear as thought change. No thought policing and no thought changing. But when we're back to the ruler, when we realise the suffering is coming from here, the headache's coming from here, I'm going to stop that. When I realise that this feeling I have, this uncomfortable feeling, is coming from the thought train, the trains of thought that I'm on, I'm going to get off those trains. And sooner and sooner, at an earlier and earlier station. So I used to rant about lots of things and lots of people. I had a little rant at lunchtime, actually, because my fiance's mother has just popped out of nowhere and asked him for money for something, having not spoken to him in a civilised way for months. So that's interesting, a little rant about that at lunchtime. But I know to stop sooner than I used to. So our emotions are information, Anna. They're information about our state of mind. So I might be saying slightly differently, but hopefully I'm recapping about so just to say that intelligence is, emotions are intelligence, because they're your body saying, hey, watch out, your thinking is out of kilter here. Your thinking is not helpful, it's causing your suffering, it's taking you on a path that's not helpful. You're probably going to say something that's not nice to another person. This is when we're talking about relationships here, which we are a lot at the moment. So it's guidance. Guidance is not just, I'm in meditation and I'm, checking out the universe and I'm connecting to myself in the quiet. No, that's great. Do that. But understand that your emotions are the most powerful intelligence that you have. They are wisdom. Your body is wise. Your head, not so much so, I find, these days. So, Sue, let me have a look. Just want to ask a question about preference versus seeking some time from the outside to make you feel good. When you go to see, you say it's a preference. Isn't it a preference because of how the experience makes you feel? No. There must be some reason there's a preference. I got confused. Well, there's a preference because you've got thinking about the sea. And me too, Sue. Me too. Absolutely love it. I love being by the sea. We're going to Aberdeen in a couple of weeks, and in fact less than about a week and a half, actually. There's lots to do. we're going for a couple of weeks. My fiance's working at a big venue in Aberdeen, and I will be working from the motorhome. And I like the spot that we normally stay in, which is just next to the sea in Aberdeen. It's absolutely gorgeous. Literally, I look out the window and there's the sea, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And he wants me to go stay on a campsite. Now, if I stayed on a campsite, I'd be fine. I'd get on with it and it'd be fine. Now, I still would prefer to be by the sea because I like the sea. Who knows why I like the sea? Probably nice experiences of the East Coast as a child. I could make up a story about it, Sue. I don't know. I just like it. It's because I have happy thinking about the sea. That's what's creating my experience. It's nothing else, you know. Some people don't like the sea. My daughter didn't used to like sand, like big time. She's very good at texturey things. So I hope that makes sense, Sue, in terms of the difference between preference and for me, it's the difference between preference and my well-being depends on this. It's got to be like this for me to be okay. It's not like that. It's our thinking about the sea. That's what creates the preference. So Debbie, what about people saying you have too many emotions or you're emotional, try to do too much? Lots of emotion from long divorce from from an abusive man. So bless you, Debbie, for that. That doesn't sound very pleasant. Me too, as well. Not physically abusive, but emotionally, it wasn't an easy person to live with, my ex-husband. But then I don't think I was an easy person to live with either. So that's another story. But too many emotions. Well, I would say for me, that would be that your body is repeatedly telling you to get off the train of thought. If you've got a lot of that going on, like you feel like you're in an emotional state a lot of the time, then it's because you've got a lot of thinking that's creating those emotions. Thank you, Lizeth. Don't worry. I'm going to hang around a bit longer just because there's so much in the comments. I don't want to love you and leave. I don't want to leave you. So I hope that makes sense, Debbie. That the emotions are going to keep shouting until you stop. Because as human beings, we're misunderstanding them most of the time. And we're not stopping. And our body is going to keep saying, hey, you, get off this train of thought. It is not helpful. It's going to keep saying that over and over again. So I hope that's helpful, Debbie. That's just the kind of thing, and what Sue said as well, those are just the kinds of things that I love to chat to people about when I work with my clients, just the sort of things that come up. And I love, Sue, that you've been looking in this direction a while, and you're asking those questions because you're seeing there's some misunderstanding there. So I'm going to ask a question about it. It's absolutely brilliant, and I hope that was helpful, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you so much for everybody who's been here today. I am going to carry on going through the comments, but I'm just going to say, just to remind you, these sessions do come by donation to you via donation. So if you are able to donate to me and Insight Timer, that would be really, I'd be really grateful for that. So yeah, Anna, absolutely. Our mind does lie, and our body tells us when our mind's lying. How perfect is that? Like, it couldn't be more perfect, could it? It's absolutely perfect. Hello, Eleanor. Lovely that you're here. I am close to the end, Eleanor, but please do grab on the link in my bio. You can check out there's a list there of the replays. Thank you so much, everybody. Lots of people need to leave, which is fine. Keisha, I'm so glad you found that helpful. Yeah, don't beat yourself up about emotions. They're a gift. There's a Cindy Banks quote, which is, if the only thing that people learn was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. And it's probably my favourite quote from Cindy Banks, because it encapsulates everything about the three principles, which was the teaching from Cindy Banks. So has anybody else got anything else they want to share or they want to help? Yeah, Debbie, brilliant. So it's only for security and protect myself. Yeah, and the protection, of course, Debbie, is historical. It's, you know, the emotion comes from our thinking. Our thinking is the past. It's created by our past experience. It's got nothing to do with really what's happening now. It's just that our mind is associating what's happening now with the you know, with our experience. It's associating what's happening now with something in the past and just bringing up the same feeling. So you'll try to plan your trip to the shore to coincide with my next session. Oh, that's lovely. Right, so I'm going to go and Bruce make the tea, evening meal, dinner, whatever you want to call it. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. This is it's been an absolute pleasure today. I've really enjoyed it. I hope to see some of you tomorrow at 3:50, and there are other sessions. Check out my profile to see my other sessions. If you are able to make a donation, or hop on my courses and you know, have some chats with me on there. That's another really great way to support me as a teacher on here. I absolutely love being on here, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. We're going to talk about difficult conversations tomorrow, so please do hop on. That's so helpful for our personal and our professional lives, I think, is difficult conversations. But I'm going to put a different twist on it, different to what you experienced before. I'm not so sure. Thank you for all the love and all the lovely love hearts. Thank you so much for being here. If you don't follow me yet, please go along and follow me. And please check out the link in my bio to find out more about connecting with me and working with me and things like that. So take care. Lots of love, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for all the lovely thank you.